This is the most important video every trader needs to be listening to. I am interviewing the co-owner of the brokerage Global Prime. I sit down with him and I ask him the tough questions. This is not your average interview. I'm asking him questions like, what is the difference between an A book versus B book? ECN versus non-ECN? Why do some brokers offer 500 to 1 leverage while others offer 100 to 1? What is a dealing desk? Tell me about the depth of the liquidity pool of brokers and how they choose between them. How do they come up with the total cost behind the trade? What is a trade receipt? Can I see who's taking the opposite side of my trade? Another important thing is that you guys need to know is where's your money being kept when you give them your money? You guys are going to be giving them thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of dollars down the line. Don't you think you should know what they are doing with your money? What is the regulation behind them and what countries can they serve and not serve and why? And can they potentially move into those other countries? This is all very important stuff that I ask. I ask about 20 questions. And if I did not ask one of the questions that you want answered, leave them down in the comment section below because what Global Prime will do is they will be watching this video and check out the comment section and they will answer any questions that you guys have that I did not answer. They are very transparent. That's why I love them. If you guys want to connect with Global Prime, I will leave that in the description below to their website. If you guys want to join their Discord group, I will put that down below in the description. So check out the description, check out the comment section because other people are going to be asking questions. If you guys like this video, leave a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe. In fact, if you didn't like the video, go ahead and leave a thumbs down. Just take action, all right? But I know you're going to like it. Thank you guys so much for listening to this. Enjoy the rest of the video. Cheers. So first off, I did want to ask you, how and why did you get into the broker side of the business?
Sure. So first of all, it's really good to be speaking with you again. It's nice to be on the other side of the questions. I grilled you last time. Now you can grill me. So I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to the interview. So I was actually in fashion. I had a jeans label back in the day, and also trained as a graphic designer. I actually have an education. I got a bachelor, which is something that I'm very proud about. I actually finished some education in my life. Um, but yeah, the jeans label was going well, and my cousin, who's partner in the business, his name's Alan, and he started driving around in a Mercedes. I'm like, hey, what are you doing over there? I'm struggling over here with my fashion label, and you're driving around in a Mercedes. So he's like, look, I'm trading Forex. I'm like, what's that? So kind of took me under his wing. And back then he lived in an apartment in Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia, and showed me the ropes. We traded out of his attic upstairs. He'd pull the stairs down and we'd play Counter-Strike against each other. He had a great like double computer setup with a block in the middle so we couldn't see each other's screens.
Yeah.
Very important if you're playing, computer games against each other. And yeah, we'd sit there for a couple of months trading, playing games. He'd feed me a nice dinner every night, and it was good times. We were kind of running a licensed mini hedge fund in a way. We had a couple of clients under us, and the broker that we were trading through was Global Prime, which of course is the broker that we now manage. So the trading was going well. I started going on to different forums and teaching myself a few different strategies that I learned online from some great mentors. And over time, I got a bit of a following. People wanted to trade a strategy that I developed. And I kind of said, guys, chill out. Let's see this work. I'm still trading demo accounts for now. And if I can do 6 months on a demo, 6 months on a live, then maybe we can talk. So that strategy didn't work out in the end. It was really good in the trending market, wasn't so good in the ranging market. So I can talk for hours, but I'm going to try and maybe move a few steps forward. So around that time, Elan called me up. I was just coming back from a Europe trip and said, look, why don't you come and together I've got an offer from Global Prime that we can kind of come in there and see what we can do with Global Prime, because it was kind of created as a retail arm to section things off from the parent company, which is more of an institutional business that held the prime broker relationships. And no one was really doing anything with it. Like I said, we're pretty much the only clients. So we came in from the ground up, basically just built it up. And from day one, we had clients because the people that were following me on these forums and wanted me to trade for them, basically we just kind of emailed them, became the official broker of Steve Hopwood's forum, and people started to join us. We started to work out how things worked from a broker perspective, and it was really eye-opening to kind of jump into a brokerage, have no idea about running a brokerage, and very quickly learn how liquidity works on the back end, start to speak to the banks, the prime brokers, and build up a really good understanding of how things work. So that's, in a very long-winded way, the story of how we got into Global Prime.
Yeah, I thought it would be something like you become a trader and you're like, hey, I want to open up a broker. So you just kind of like got a job
Oh
with a
no.
broker. Like Global Prime does hire people from Discord chat or just someone off the strip, and then they guess they work their way up. You did get into it early, and so you just stayed with them, right? And you just moved up the ranks, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, my initial role when I first started was marketing manager, but now that it's an
Mhm.
actual thing, I can really look at it as the founder in a way. But yeah, it's been an amazing ride. We have more than 40 staff around the world, about 30 in our office behind me, and it's a great business. Like you said, we actually have a Discord where we hang out with our clients, and now instead of bringing someone in from another broker, which we has never really worked, interestingly enough, for retail support specifically, the clients that we meet, we're bringing them in to become support staff, and it's amazing because they can hit the ground running. They understand the
Mhm.
DNA, what we do, and they love the product. So
Yeah.
yeah, we've got a new girl that just joined us recently from the Discord, and it's just really cool to bring a client into the business, and all of a sudden they're so excited they get to see the
Yeah.
back end, um, and also help out as well.
I think a cool video for you guys actually to make would be taking a little room because I like doing room tours when I do like my YouTube videos and stuff like that. You guys should do like a room
Sure.
tour of the broker and
Okay.
show everybody like the tour of how the operations are done. Say like, hey, this is our support staff.
Yeah.
This is maybe our trading floor if you guys do have one. Hey, this is where we hold our meetings, and then go into detail about every single one of them. I think that would be really fascinating.
Sure.
You know how
So
people
I'm gonna make that happen.
yeah, make that happen. I mean, if I was there
Yeah.
and I went when I go to Australia, I'm gonna get that tour. That's exactly what I would do. I'd be like, hey, let me record this and just show me around because I find it interesting. As a client, I like to know what my money's doing and how you guys are
Mm,
operating. And I think other people with using Global Prime or not would like to see how the back end works of a broker. It's extremely important, right?
sure.
Um,
So in saying that, we're actually doing a series at the moment, almost like Kardashians. I don't know why I'm using that as an example, but almost like a TV series, but it's more for kind of like vlogging and showing exactly that behind the scenes. But either way, I think that's a cool idea of just taking the camera around and like just saying, this is this guy, this is this guy, this is this
I
girl.
think it's brilliant, man, that you really should be doing that because, like I said, nobody gets to see what's going on in the back end of
Yeah,
what's happening with a broker. A lot of times the brokers just hide and they don't like to answer questions, they don't like to know where they're located. But to be very open on social media, I think it's a big bonus, and I would love to plug you guys in
awesome.
on that stuff. No,
All right, cool. We'll hit you up.
yeah, no kidding, right? One of the other questions I did want to ask was, what is the difference between an A book versus B book broker?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, an A-book broker basically, when a client places a trade, they take that trade and they execute it into the real market with real liquidity providers that they've gone and sourced. A B-book broker will also have pricing and they'll also have liquidity providers. What they'll do is they'll section off the losing clients into a separate book. And whenever those clients trade, instead of putting those trades out to the market to these liquidity providers, they internalize that trade. So what happens then is if a client loses $1,000, that broker will actually, the B-book broker will make $1,000 as profit. So it's pretty much like running a
Hmm.
casino. I know B-book brokers don't like to hear that, but hey, if you're making money when people are coming through the door off their losses, I mean, it's pretty much the same model, right?
Hmm. That's really interesting. You guys run that A book. I always tell people go with the A book, not the B book. You know?
Hmm. So, so what's interesting with that is, yes, you run an A-book brokerage, and we're one of the only brokers in the world that disclose that fully on our website. There's a section on how we make money. It's very detailed. We show who our liquidity providers are, and of course, there's a lot of transparency features as well, like the Discord, which holds us accountable to our clients. You can imagine if a client has a complaint, they can jump in there and air their dirty laundry in front of anyone. It doesn't happen very often, which is really good. And as well, we offer automated trade receipts, which actually show our clients on any of their trades instantly which bank or liquidity provider filled their trade, how long it took to execute, the depth of the market at the time, a tick chart before and after, showing the kind of
You're
markouts as
you're
well.
taking my questions
So,
now. These are my questions that I was going to ask you.
oh no,
No, no, no.
sorry,
It's
we
totally
can
good. We'll get
cut
to
it
them.
around.
No,
Okay.
we will get to them because they are very important, and
Hmm,
transparency is extremely important when talking with
for
retail
sure.
brokers or retail traders and with brokers, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So one more thing before we go, I wanted to make one more point. Is pretty much every broker out there runs a B-book. Unfortunately, there's no disclosures around it, and it's very hard to find out if your broker is actually a B-book broker or an A-book broker unless they're showing you trade receipts, or they're, you know, able to answer certain questions, which are, you know, we can talk about a bit later on. There's a few ways to try and suss them out. But yeah, you can go on now. I'm done.
That's all good. Another thing I wanted to ask you on is an ECN versus non-ECN, or is that kind of the same
Sure.
questions that I just asked you?
Not really. You know, ECN is, I mean, it means electronic communication network, and it can be viewed at as anything. And what happened is a lot of the retail brokers started using ECN as a catchphrase, and another one is NDD, non-dealing desk, STP, straight through processing, but I like to call it in their model straight to pocket. But that's another little joke over on the office.
That's a good one.
Look, they kind of used for a long time ECN, saying raw ECN, true ECN, all these different like ECN names to imply that they weren't B-booking, because retail traders then use that term to think they're not B-booking me because they are ECN. Now, what happened is a lot of regulators went out there and said, hey, this isn't on kind of thing. So everyone changed and took away that ECN name out of their, you know, models or whatever you want to call it on their websites, and they just took every reference away. So ECN to us means that you're not B-book, and that is really the understanding of retail clients. We actually polled a lot of clients around, you know, our clients in the industry to find out what their interpretation was of ECN. We then took that to a lawyer to make sure that, you know, the lawyers as well could kind of have a look at how we classify ourselves as ECN, because we're one of the only brokers out there that are still saying ECN, because we don't B-book, and because we believe that we're ECN, which is what the client's understanding of what ECN is. On our website, we also have an ECN page that actually shows what the client's understanding of it is and what an ECN is and isn't. So there's a bit of information that the viewers can look at over there as well.
That's awesome. Thank you for that information. I think you already answered this, but it was, what is the problem with the dealing desk? Are they bad, basically?
Sure. So look, we've unpacked this over a 10-part YouTube series.
Yeah.
It'd be very hard to go through all the different points.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
made
on
each
a
video
quick interview.
45 minutes long. Like, I've watched all of them.
Yeah,
Excellent. They're basically the questions that I just asked you, but they were such good questions and you answered them so good in
sure.
detail for 45 minutes. We can't go into it in detail because you definitely did it
Yeah,
and it took you 45 minutes to do it. So we can only scratch the surface. But I recommend
sure.
everybody to check them out. You did a whole YouTube playlist answering ECN, how brokers make money, what's a dealing desk,
Mm.
how are they screwing you, what's A book versus B book, what's was it profile? You did one on client profiling or something like that.
Client profiling. Yeah,
Yeah, right. So excellent series. Sorry, I took the words out of your mouth.
awesome. No, cool. So look, when you go and talk about B books, I mean, you can talk about STP, NDD. Let's just talk about B books specifically. And if every broker out there, or pretty much every broker out there, is running some type of B book where they're profiling losing clients, then what happens is the broker isn't on the client side, and that's really
Hmm.
where they're placing their focus. You know, this industry has been around for a long time. In the last 10 years, we haven't seen any innovation come out from brokers. They're all copycats of each other, all doing the exact same thing. It's just different branded casinos. And to me, and I'm not going out there and saying that B-books should be banned. Um, you know, there's a few implications that come with switching a client from A book to B book, which I'll talk about in a second. But the idea is that, number one, I believe that if there weren't no B books ever to have existed, then maybe client profitability would be higher, because brokers would be fighting for client profitability and actually innovating and doing things because they're on the client side, like we are. But instead, they just focus on that side of things, and, you know, adding more products is their main like real innovation in what they're doing, and, you know, they end up just copying each other, and it is what it is. Now, we've kind of narrowed it down. The biggest implication of a B book is that there's two books that we're talking about, right? There's the A book where you put your profitable clients, and the B book where you put your losing clients. Now, when you switch a client from A book to B book, it has big implications for certain types of traders. And I'll just give one example, but there's many others. So you can imagine a client goes and downloads an EA, which is a trading robot, and they get put onto the B book where most clients start off, and they start to trade this EA. Now, what this EA is doing is it's trying to capture a tick that only existed in the market for a tick. Over rollover, spreads can go, you know,
Hmm.
a bit wider, and basically trying to capture this price that doesn't really exist in the real market. And they're getting perfect fills on it because a B book is like a demo account. If your trade isn't going out to the market, then it's not going to get slippage. It's just filled instantly, or maybe there's a bit of technology behind it to change it a little bit, but whatever. Now, imagine this client then goes and starts to make money on this EA, this robot, and then all of a sudden the client decides to up their account to $100,000, say, and they're like, okay, now I'm going to do bigger trades, bigger volume. All of a sudden, they start to come up in the broker or the VBook broker's radar, and the broker sees that they're starting to make money, so they switch them to an A-book. Now, what happens then is these EAs don't work in an A-book environment. So all of a sudden, this client suddenly starts to see slippage and can have the whole account ruined, trying to see this thing work. I know you laugh, but it's sick, right? So now we notify clients in the industry for margin changes because it affects them. We notify them for session changes because it affects them. But there's no notification for clients when you switch them from A to B book, even though there's so many different ways. I can keep going about the other options, but I'll leave it at that. There's so many ways that a client can get screwed being switched between books because they're going from fake liquidity, like a demo instant fills, to real market where they can start to see slippage. Or if they're doing big trades, all of a sudden they're starting to see VWAP slippage, and these EAs can blow up. Now, for us, we think that it's important for brokers to disclose to a client when you switch them from A book to B book or vice versa. Brokers would never want to do that because it's a very awkward thing. Hey, we're going to switch you from being a profitable client to a losing client. They're never going to want to do that, but they should, right? I mean, if it's going to affect the client when you're switching them, they should be notified. Anyway, that's
Comes
a bit of a
down to
memo.
a money thing, I think, definitely. They're
Yeah.
making more money. There's lots more ways that they can make money, through different streams of income of being a broker, and I guess that's one of them, right? So
Yeah.
they want to
But I
do it,
mean,
sure.
for them, it's a, yeah.
Yeah. One of the other questions I did want to ask you is talking about leverage and why do brokers offer 500 to 1 leverage while other brokers offer 100, such as Global Prime? You seem like
Sure. So,
as a retail trader that's brand new. If I ask them, do you want 500 or 100? I think most people are going to go with the 500, be like, damn, I can make way more money. I can turn a $100 account into a $10,000 account
yeah.
in a day.
So things have really changed recently. It's a good question. Things have changed recently in the industry because a lot of the regulators have gone and put leverage restrictions on, ASIC, FCA. And to me, I think they're great in a way because what that means is when an unsuspecting noob kind of comes in and just exactly like you said, they're given 500 times leverage either off the bat or they can request in the client portal without any kind of questions being asked them if they understand what they're getting themselves into. And what happens is the clients, like you said, they think it's like the Ferrari is the 500 times leverage. And they were actually marketed, like a lot of ads back in the day were like, broker name, 500 times leverage. Like
Yeah.
that's what you need to trade kind of thing. And that's not the case at all. If anything, what it does is it allows a client, especially clients that don't know what they're doing, to blow up much, much quicker. Now, if you're running a B book, obviously you want to give clients as much leverage as possible because that makes them blow up quicker and that makes the broker make more money because they're profiting from the client's losses. So these days, in Australia, it's 30 times leverage. Offshore, you can get a bit more leverage. Now, we have a prime broker setup, which means that, we've got a couple of different tier one banks that actually go and they give us the leverage that we then go and give to our clients. When a client blows up and goes negative on a B-book broker, which happens a lot of the time, because if you have 500 times leverage and the market gaps so far,
Yes.
or you're totally levered up, your account can go negative. On a B-book broker, they can just reset you back to zero and let you continue trading basically because those trades haven't gone out to the market and they don't owe that negative balance to a counterparty. Now, with us, we've got to take risk management very seriously because a negative balance to us means that we've got to actually go and pay that negative balance to, the counterparty that we owe that negative balance to. So we're very careful with our risk. As an A-book broker, it's impossible in our minds to offer 500 times leverage. So if you're with a broker that's offering 500 times leverage, you're almost 100% being, on a A-book and B-book kind of model because it's impossible to give someone 500 times leverage. The credit risk is too high because when you go negative, you owe it to a counterparty.
Very interesting, isn't it? Yeah, a lot of those brokers, they do have that slogan of free commissions, you don't pay for lots or anything like that, and we don't take the opposite side of your trade. Or it's what do they say? 500 to 1 leverage, free commissions. That's what every B-book broker that's taking the opposite side of your trade. That's their main slogan,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So I do like that you guys do offer like just I think maximum
Mm.
100 or something like that. Maybe it depends on which country you are in. Correct?
Correct. Yeah. So it's 30 times in Australia for our Australian clients. Obviously, falling under the ASIC regulations, and then offshore clients can access 100 times leverage, and they can go up to 1 to 200. But the difference is, if you want 200 times leverage with us, we give you a very detailed questionnaire. It asks you, how many lots you're looking to hold open. Do you understand the implications that you're getting yourself into. And we actually restrict clients with the amount of lots that they could hold open with 200 times leverage, which is interesting. You can actually hold, you know, a little bit more, I think, on 100 times leverage. You're more capped with 200 times. So, you know, we take that risk very seriously. We make sure the client understands what they're getting themselves into. You know, sometimes a client with $1,000 is like, oh, I want to put 10 lots on my account. We're like, hey, you should, first of all, maybe think about going back to a demo before you start trading real money, because you're so far away from understanding how this works. But again, you know, you can't really open 10 lots on a $1,000 account, right? So we have that conversation and we try and educate them to get them to realize what they're getting themselves into. And you touched about free commissions. Most brokers that have a zero commission product will mark up the spread to get it to the point where you're paying $7 or whatever it is per lot anyway. We've actually come out with a zero commission model for our clients. Anyone that's signing up at the moment is being put under that. It's kind of under the radar. So if you're watching this, we don't accept American clients. So I know probably a lot of Americans are going to watch this. We can't accept you guys, but if you're not in America, yeah, we basically, we're cheaper than pretty much any broker out there from what we've seen. So we've got third-party people that actually log and track spreads and the commissions from other brokers, and we're pretty much the cheapest at the moment. So we're lowest cost and also the most transparent. That's really what we're trying to do. Low cost really helps out.
You touched base on two questions that I really did want to ask you. One is how, because I'm very curious about this, because you guys do charge. I believe you should be paying to enter a trade per lot. You know, what is it? It's like $7, or depending where you are around the world, $7, $8 per lot you trade. I really believe in that. You should be paying instead of getting free commissions and not having somebody take the opposite side of your trade. But I'm really curious to see, how do you come up, how do these brokers like yourself with Global Prime come up with these numbers to say it's $7 to enter one lot? You know, what math is going into that calculation to say it's $7? Like, who's paying who? You know, what's the exchange rate or what's the exchange fee? To me, I don't know. It seems kind of high, but then again, you are trading 100,000. But I just wanted to hear your input. I've always wanted to know that.
So it's a real copycat kind of thing. You know, the standard for a very long time was $7 per lot. You know, all the ASIC regulated brokers, that's kind of who we look at a lot, were on the same $7 per lot. And then slowly, other brokers started coming out a little bit cheaper. And it's just really a race to the bottom. You know, you've got commission free in stocks. And what we've done is we've made an A-book model where we don't profit from client losses. And then we've gone that we're not charging any commissions, but we do have markups to the spread, depending on which pair is being traded. But if you look at our markups, including the zero commission, and do an all-in cost versus other brokers, it's a lot cheaper than pretty much anyone out there at the moment. So we're trying to give, you know, the best of both worlds, where clients can trade in a fair and ethical environment, as well as being able to, you know, have really, really low cost. And for us, it's all a volume game, right? We believe that with what we're doing, that over time, clients, and we've seen it already, that clients are looking for, you know, first of all, looking for an understanding, and that's why these conversations are important. They're looking to understand what's going on in the back end of my trades. And, you know, you're seeing with Robinhood what happened with, you know, the end market maker, and people like starting to ask questions. So that's kind of the world that we're in at the moment. And yeah, I think people are looking for something that is transparent, but is also, you know, low cost, because low cost means more money in the trader's pocket. So yeah, I mean, we can get more granular on how commissions are calculated and this and that, but for us, we have our costs, we have our prime broker, we have our clearing costs, you know, we pay technology costs as well, and we just factor everything in. We know what our all-in cost is, and we make sure that, you know, we're able to still make a little bit of money while everyone else is pretty much trading almost, well, very, very, very low cost.
Okay, good. That's something I've always been curious about, and I think it'd be cool for a broker to share that. Be like, hey, like this is what the exchange rate fee per trade is. Maybe it's like, hey, to us to actually have this ticket to do business with this bank, it's costing us $1 million a year. Then you have to add this fee in. You got to hold holding times. You know, you've got to add all this stuff up, and you know, maybe it equals to be like $4. So we need to make a commission. So you know, we add an extra $3, and you don't have to deal with any of that. We're just the middle guy, and we connect you to,
Sure.
you know. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
something
So
interesting, and
that's
I
really,
go on.
yeah, that's really what we're trying to do. You know, we want to get to the point where, you know, we're showing as much as we can of everything. But I think if we actually showed the true cost of running a brokerage, nobody would want to start one. If you think about it, you've got compliance departments, accounts, cash, you've got support, you've got legals,
It's a
Then you've
big
got,
headache.
I don't know, I can't even think right now. There's a lot of different things. I wouldn't call it a headache because if you love what you do, you never really work. And for us, it's fascinating. We love liquidity. We love managing it. We love working with clients as well and getting to know them. So yeah, for me,
It's not a
it's
one
great. I
man
love it.
army. Yeah, it's not a one man army show,
No,
is it? It can't be. It's not like if
not
you're just a
not
trader,
anymore.
it's just you, or if you're running your own little small group, it's just you. You could do it, but you start adding all
Sure.
these other stuff, yeah, it's extremely tough. You can't do it by yourself. So, hats off to you.
Actually, when we first started, I was pretty much doing it by myself. It was just three or four of us in a 2x2 cubicle. Granted, we didn't have hundreds of clients or anything back then when we first started, but it was intense.
Mm, okay. One of the things I did want to ask you, because you did touch on it, is regulation. I have a lot of American clients that reach out to me and say, "Hey, I really want to sign up with Global Prime. I love them," or
Sure.
other countries as well. Like, why is it that you cannot accept clients from America or other countries?
So how America works is if you're American, you're not allowed to trade at offshore brokerages that aren't licensed in America. Now, to get licensed in America is a big deal. It costs a lot of
Mhm.
money. You got to put tens of millions of dollars into a bank account that doesn't earn interest from what I understand. And that's just like to even just to get started. Then you got to build up your compliance teams over there and really make a proper push. So interestingly enough, in another video, I kind of said if there's a sugar daddy out there that wants to help us get into America, please hit me up. I'm not going to say who it is, but a sugar daddy hit us up.
Oh,
So
there you go.
there's it's very initial discussions, and I'm not going to promise you guys that we're 100% going to get in there or anything like that. But the American market, I think, from what I've seen speaking to American traders, they actually know what they're doing a lot more than people from other countries. They take it very seriously. They understand risk management a lot more. They're looking for mentors. They're just little bit more, I guess, advanced than the average punter in a way. And yeah, so if we have that right partner and we can do some business together, then we'll be able to hopefully get into America as well. We are always looking for more licenses and looking to be global. I mean, it's in our name, Global Prime. So hopefully, I don't think it's anytime soon, but if we can get everything together, then one day I'd love to be able to have another chat with you and say, hey, we've done it and we
Yeah,
can actually accept American clients.
I would totally love that. I get hit up all the time by people saying, "Hey, they don't want to accept American clients. When are they going to accept American clients? Why
Mm,
don't they accept American clients?" I get it all the time, right? So I'd really want to see that expansion. And there is a lot of money in America. You know that. There is a lot of money. When people ask me, why don't I make money if I'm in Mexico right now, which I am, I get people like, "Oh, why don't you work down here or why don't you invest down here?" I go, "You know what? I make my money up north. Like that's where the money
yeah.
is it's in America, it's in Canada, it's online, it's in Australia, it's in the Western countries. That's really where the money
Mm,
is, right? Why would the hell would I want to be going to work here, opening up a small business where it only generates, 5,000 pesos a day, which is only like 250 bucks? It just makes
sure.
no sense. And I got to deal with the law and all that, the cartel and all that BS. Doesn't make any sense. So when people ask me, like, why not? I say, hey, you know what? I make my money up north and I spend it down here, right? I ain't spending
Mm.
my money up north.
Well, you've taken it one step further and you can go anywhere in the world and
Yeah,
trade, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, of course. So definitely, I would love to see Global Prime out here in the future. You know, um,
let's see what we can do.
yeah, yeah, 100%. One of the things I did want to ask you, not off topic, but it's talking about making money with Global Prime and how does Global Prime make its money straight up? Is it through me
Sure.
taking a trade? Is it what?
So we make money on commissions and spread markups and swap markups. So the idea is that from our side, we basically go out there and try and get the best deal with swap partners and obviously also with the back end technology as well. It's very hard to negotiate because there's you've got to like really do big volume, I think, to actually start to see it come down a bit. But we're always looking to see how we can lower our costs to enable us to give our clients a better offering. So we kind of like to look at everything as like an all-in cost. We're always benchmarking ourselves against competitors. And yeah, the idea is to hopefully, have a product that is low cost for clients so they can continue to keep more of their money in their back pocket. But as well, like I was saying, it's very transparent. So it kind of gives them something different that they're not really getting elsewhere.
So another thing I did want to ask you is the depth. We talked about this when we did my interview. Is the depth of the liquidity pool with Global Prime? who's taking my trade, or like how big is the liquidity pool of Global Prime, and how do you choose between them?
Sure. So it really depends on the product that you're trading. Obviously, there's a lot of different asset classes that we offer at the moment. In FX, there can be anything between 20 to 25 different banks that are competing for the flow. And how that works is there's kind of an order book, and all the different banks are pricing at different levels with different sizes, or sorry, different prices, I should say, different levels or different prices with different sizes that they're looking to fill. So the one that has the best price sits at the top of the book, and that's the price that clients see through their platform, and that's the price that they're looking to execute on. Now, if you do a bigger trade, then you get a kind of a VWAP fill, which kind of sweeps the order book, and you can get a VWAP fill which isn't exactly at your top price because there's been multiple legs that have been filled over there. So that's pretty much how it works. Our clients can see on the back end, they can actually see from their trade receipts the depth, and actually now in TradingView, not TradingView actually, sorry, in Trader Evolution, I always get those two confused. I got to get the nicknames, they're so
Is that
similar.
the other platform? I
Yeah,
never used it.
TradingView is a charting platform. We've actually integrated in there, so our clients
Yeah,
can
yeah,
now
yeah. I
trade
use
from
TradingView.
TradingView, which is pretty cool. Awesome. So yeah, if we could take you on, then you'd be able to trade with Global Prime inside TradingView, which is pretty cool. So yeah, in Trader Evolution, which is more of like I think it's a more upmarket retail / institutional platform. It kind of sits in the crossover in the middle. You can see the order book in real time updating. So level
On
2
TradingView?
depth in Trader Evolution, which
Oh,
is another
Trader
platform that we
Evolution.
offer.
Yeah.
But Trader Evolution is actually linked to TradingView. So when you place a trade in either platform, it's mimicked on both. So if you close on one, it'll be mimicked on the other. If you adjust the stop loss, mimicked on the other. Pretty cool.
Okay, yeah, I haven't done the link yet into TradingView. I use TradingView for 99% of everything, but when it comes to order execution, I was just born and raised on MetaTrader.
Okay, cool.
Right? But I will be making the switch in the summertime. I just got to learn the platform. It is a
Sure.
bit of a headache to learn a new platform as an order execution. Can you take multiple take
Yeah,
profits, stuff like that? It is a headache. So maybe I have to open up a demo account and play around with that for a week or two.
sure. Sounds good.
Um, you did mention it, trade receipts, and I think something what trade receipts are is you really wanted to be as transparent as you can with other
Mm.
retail traders, and this is something that I've seen Global Prime come out within the last, it was 2 years ago or a year and a half ago that you started coming out with trade receipts, and you wanted to show retail traders what is actually happening and who's taking the opposite side of your trade and the depth of the liquidity pool that we showed earlier. Could you explain
Yeah.
a little bit of something like that? Because a lot of people you see online, they rage about, oh, the broker screwed me, the spread jumped, they're taking the opposite side of my trade. But then if somebody
Mm.
goes to Global Prime and says that, you can say, okay, well, hey, let's walk you through this trade receipt and actually see what happened, right? Can you go on about that and what's the point of them?
For sure. So trade receipts is actually something that we've offered since we started.
Oh, okay.
From day one, we thought it was so cool being, a trader and seeing those issues happen at other brokers and being like, there's no accountability, there's no way you can get the information. So when we went into Global Prime, it wasn't able broker when we first
Ah,
came in there. And so we kind of looked in the back and we're like, oh wow, I can actually see which banks are filling my trades or client trades. Why don't we offer this to them? It's never really been done before, especially for retail. So back in the day, it used to be a manual process. We would screenshot the back of Prime XM or 10 or whoever we were using at the time to be the bridge between MT4. And that's kind of where all the trades are stored and where you can see all the different banks or liquidity providers that are connecting the client's trades. And over time, we're like, we should automate this. And, clients obviously asked for it a lot. And we listened, and it took us a while, but we got there. And yeah, so our clients now can, on any of their trades at any time, straight away after the trade's been executed, pull up a trade receipt in their backend client portal. And like I was saying before, they can see which bank filled the trade. So that way they know we're not on the opposite side and that there's actually, a real liquidity provider on the back end of the trade that filled it. It shows how long the trade took to execute. It shows all the legs, all the execution times, between that slippage, if there was any, the full order book at the time as well. And also a tick chart at the bottom that they can kind of see markouts of how their trade kind of would have looked, kind of where their trade was filled, where the market moved 5 seconds before and 5 seconds after. Now, what's cool about trade receipts is we're kind of doing the opposite of what people are used to. Like you said, if you get stuck with a bad trade or you're not happy with the fill, you got to go to your broker. And first of all, they're going to, give you some kind of response. It's very hard to actually, if you ask your broker, can you show them which bank or LP filled the trade, they're most likely not going to give it to you because a lot of the time there'll be them on the other side. But you kind of have to ask them for the details and then hope that they're going to give you something. With us, we've turned the tables around where we're giving you everything. So we're actually making you hold us accountable by giving you that information, because you can take any of your trades before even coming to us and saying, hey, here's my trade receipt. This looks like an issue. Can you help me through it? And then obviously we can see if there was an issue. We can look to potentially rebate the client, or like you said, we can also walk them through it. So it kind of, it's one thing being transparent and showing them that, but it's the accountability that it offers, I think, to clients, to make sure that we're showing them everything pretty much in terms of, like, I can't think of any other data that we're not showing in those trade receipts. Are very, very detailed. And again, on our website, there's a trade receipt section. So if you want to look at more, it's all over there.
Awesome. Yeah, I love them. I don't look at them too often, but once in a while, I do like to look at them and be like, who took the opposite side of my trade? Or if I get screwed out of one position where I get stopped out by like 1 pip, or I didn't get filled by like half a pip or point 0.1 or point
Mm.
0.2 of a pip, I do like to go. I first check what other brokers were offering on TradingView, so you can pull up, 5 different brokers and see what the other brokers were offering. And so I like to compare, be like, okay, it didn't drop down to that price, so it's right in that area or something like that. But then I
Mm.
will go maybe into the trade receipts and just see what happened if I got stopped out,
Sure.
or see what happened. So I do check them once in a while, because
Glad.
sometimes it does feel like it. It does feel like, damn, I got
Yeah.
absolutely screwed by that one.
Mm.
Okay, so one of the things I did want to ask you about is talking about spreads. Why is the spread, this is an easy answer, but why do the spreads jump going into the end of day or into the news cycle, um,
Sure.
or anything like that, or closing for the weekend? Because you see some of these spreads jump from regular like 1, 2, 3 pips up to like 40 pips sometimes, and it can screw a lot of people out of
Mm.
positions. Gaps can
For
happen.
sure.
What is the reasoning for this?
Okay, so let's start off with the beginning of the week, right? Monday opens up. During the week, you have all your liquidity providers are all on at the same time and they're all pumping and it's all good. But on Monday, they kind of open up a little bit staggered potentially. So what
Mm,
you'll see is as they're switching on, then that liquidity is kind of growing and then the spreads are coming down because there's more LPs that are starting to price and putting
more
their
competition.
books together.
Yeah.
I think they also want to keep their spreads a little bit wider, um, potentially. I mean, I've never worked in a bank, but from what I understand, they maybe like to keep their spreads a little bit wider just in case, uh, you know, they're trying to work out where the average is again after the weekend, because there was no pricing during the weekend, right? And the
Yeah.
market can gap to a new price, and they're taking they're basically earning a bit more because their spreads are wider to compensate for any adverse movements that could be happening during that time.
Yeah.
Bit of a theory,
It's
but that's like one of
understandable,
the
completely
yeah.
understandable. They are taking some risks. They don't know, especially with Donald back, or not he's back, but when he was president, or who knows, even
Mm,
JoJo, or what might happen nowadays with 2021. Just the news is unpredictable. What can happen over the weekend? It's very unpredictable, right? What can
sure.
happen? So they are trying to, just take off the risk for themselves as well, right? So
Mm.
it is understandable.
So then you've got 100%. So then you've got middle of the, well, as you said, like rollover daily. That happens at New York close. And what happens then is the banks are resetting their pricing for the day. They're balancing their books, whatever it is. Again, I haven't worked in a bank, so I couldn't tell you exactly. But when that happens, they switch off and they're kind of switching back on. Or again, maybe just because spreads get wider, they all kind of widen at the same time. So what a lot of brokers do, including Global Prime, pretty much every MT4 broker you'll see this on, is they'll keep the prices coming through, but for 2 minutes or 5 minutes around rollover, they won't allow executions, which means that if your stop is over here and the price is here and the spread suddenly jumps up, because usually a big
Hmm.
spike like right on the dot, then you won't actually get triggered on that because the price can go through it and come back down and settle back to where it was before. So that kind of helps with spread spikes. But again, it's like for at least an hour, you start to see that spread compress
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to normal in a similar thing. And then Friday, of course, right at the end of the week, everyone's kind of switching off, and you start to see it right at the end just go a little
Yeah,
bit wider.
yeah, yeah, I definitely do see it. That's why you don't trade maybe at the start, or during
Yeah,
non-liquid times, or at the end of the week, right? You got to learn the hard way.
yeah,
Everybody learns the hard way once in a while. And
for sure.
you can't avoid you can avoid it to a certain extent, but if you're going to hold a trade over the weekend, you might think it's a swing trade, or you're holding a trade on the 4 hour, which is like a 20, 40, 50 pip zone. Who knows? A gap can happen. It's happened to me. It usually happens once, twice a year, and stuff like that does happen. Just hopefully you don't get hit with maybe something where it gaps like 300 pips, or that pound crash, right? Remember that?
Mm.
Or it just absolutely
Yeah,
went crazy and it just dropped instantaneous. Or crude oil, you don't want to
there's
be
been a
holding
few
the
big
opposite
ones.
side.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would suck if you're holding the opposite side of that, and that's how people do get liquidated. And you get the statement from the broker saying, "Hey," or from the bank saying, "You owe us money," right?
sure.
And you see
Yeah,
some
so we always
curious.
say that
Go on.
we always say that if you want the best fills, then don't trade around rollover. Watch out for Monday open, watch out for Friday close, and keep an eye on the news announcements as well to make sure that you're not exposed around then. Obviously, it doesn't work for every single strategy. It's up to traders to decide. But that's like the most risk averse, is to watch out for those periods. And
Hmm.
that's really where you see the adverse fills potentially happen.
Hmm. Hmm. We're coming near to the end now. I'm just kind of looking at our final questions. Yeah, we got about 4 or 5 more. One of the main things that I do value with Global Prime is security and customer service. Quickly talk about that. Oop, cancel. I don't want to delete my questions. I have my questions. You've seen them already. One second. I have my questions on. You can't see it on my computer. Then I have it there.
You got on the Heineken, the back of the
Yeah, yeah.
Heineken.
So
It's all good.
sometimes I'm looking at the screen, then sometimes I'm looking at the Heineken because I run out of paper, right?
A real traveling trader.
It is the struggle, man. It is the struggle. Speaking of beer, really quickly, one of the questions I did want to ask you is, what is your favorite beer? I do keep taking sips of something called Bohemia in Mexico, but
Nice.
sorry about that. I might be making you thirsty, buddy.
No, it's all good. I got my water. Still in the morning over here. Look, I like IPAs. They're my favorite. I like kind of the heavier hitting or heavier
Mm,
tasting beers. But I wouldn't say that I have an exact favorite. I like to mix it up. So when I go to the shop, I always try different things and see what else is out there. So I can't tell you an exact one, but I like IPAs
IPA
as the
guy, huh?
overall flavor profile.
I
Yeah.
heard people I hear people tell me that it comes with age. Sorry to bash
Okay.
you once again, buddy, but
That's
I've heard
okay.
it
I'll
grows
take
on me.
it.
But hey, I really like lagers, but then over the last like 2 months, I've been like growing into like a pilsner. This is a pilsner here, and I start enjoying pilsners more. So then maybe I'll move into like something hoppy or ale, and then I'll move into
Sure.
IPAs. It's probably the route that I'm going to go. I think it's destiny by now.
Sounds like
You
it. It
start
might
low,
fast track
right,
your
and
age
go up,
though.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You fast track or me?
If you switch to IPA too quickly, then
Oh,
you might start losing your hair or going grey. I don't know. Be
oh,
careful.
really? Oh,
But
wow.
you were
No,
saying that it comes with age, right? So
that's what people have told me at the bar. I have no idea if
sure,
that's true, but yeah, usually a lager type of guy. But recently, over the last 2 months, I've been a big Bohemia fan. Nice Pilsner.
very cool.
What about
Nice.
sports and stuff like that? What's your favorite sport?
I am not a sports guy at
No?
all. Like I was into MotoGP for a while, and then I think a couple of years ago, it just started to get less competitive up the front, and you didn't see like the battles like we used to see with like Casey Stoner and Valentino Rossi back in the
Mm,
day. Um, I'm a big Jorge Lorenzo fan, but I stopped watching. I stopped watching that. I don't really watch any sport. If there's something like in Australia, we've got the Origin, which is a game played between two different states. That's actually tonight. So I'll definitely go to something like that and watch it at the bar just because the vibe's really good and
mhm.
hang out with mates. But otherwise, I'm not a sports guy, man. I'm into computer games, even though I don't really have too much time to play them anymore. But now I play with my kids a lot. Like I got a 5-year-old that has a Nintendo Switch and he's really good at it. But yeah, I won't bore you with that because your question was sport, and computer games can be seen as a sport if you do it professionally, I guess.
Yeah,
But
no, it definitely is
yeah,
growing. I'm more of a Call of Duty fan and Halo. Console gamer for
sure,
myself. I was never a
cool,
PC
cool,
gamer or anything like that too much. Nothing hardcore on the PC, but yeah, more of a Call of Duty, Halo kind of a guy. Xbox. You were
very
Diablo,
nice.
right?
Yeah, someone asked on Twitter the other day what your top 5 games that defined your childhood or teenage years, and for me it's Quake, um, Doom, Sonic the Hedgehog, Carmageddon, which is a game where you run people over, very strange, and the Need for Speed series. So
Mm, never a
those were always
fan of
my
those,
favorite.
man. Yeah, I was a first person shooter kind of a guy. You like Doom
Yeah,
though? That's a first person, right? That's an old one.
Yeah, Doom's fun.
Doom wasn't. No, I think yeah, Doom was one of the first. It holds a record for something. Maybe the first person shooter game, or I think that was James Bond.
I think
Not,
before the first one, there's actually one I think before, but I can't remember. The first one was Wolfenstein, which was
mm,
like a World War II Nazi
yeah, I
hunter
remember
kind of
that.
game. And then Doom came after that. And I think after that would have been Quake
Mm,
and then Duke Nukem. I
okay,
reckon that
okay.
was the order, but don't
Yeah, I
quote me
never
on
really
it.
played them before my
Sure,
generation, man. I'm only 26 as of now, right? So you got a couple of
sure.
years on me, but you still look 20, man. You do.
I know, thanks.
You look really good,
Yeah,
man.
the computer games keep me young.
Yeah, good, good, good.
Well, it's got to be something.
Security and customer service. What I do value about you guys, and I think you do take very serious, is the security aspect. If somebody, I don't know, pretends to be a certain client or tries to get info on them or wants to know, hey, where does this guy live? You guys take it very serious, and you do have a lot of personal information on people and stuff like that. And customer service is through the roof. I'm not sure if you wanted to touch base on that on the security aspect.
Yeah. So look, on the security side, there's certain things that you've got to comply by being,
Yeah,
regulated in
yeah.
multiple jurisdictions, as well as like having a prime brokerage is another big kind of like tick that shows people that we're obviously doing something right and got a good balance sheet behind us. Because to get a prime brokerage is not an easy feat, especially in the current climate as well. And you're also not really able to get a prime brokerage if you run a B book because the risk is too much for them. So the idea is that you're satisfying a prime broker on your risk levels in terms of your exposure and what you're doing and managing that constantly. So, that kind of ties into the security aspect because the idea is that, if you look at a broad perspective, there's a lot of things that we've got to be getting right, I guess, to do what we do. So we take security very seriously, we take risk very seriously, and we've got, teams dedicated to that. On the client service side of things, that I think is what really sets us apart from other brokers. Although I have to say there are some other brokers coming up in ASIC that seem to be doing a really good job at that as well. So kudos to lifting the game. You guys know who you are. Um, but yeah, it's to us that's like the biggest thing. It's getting to know the client. It's pulling them into Discord and getting to understand more about their trading, what they're looking for, and we don't have script monkeys. We don't outsource live chats to somewhere else. If you go on most brokers' live chats, it's like such a frustrating experience. Whereas with us, each person
Yeah.
gets put through
A real
a rigorous
person.
training process to a real person,
Yeah.
rigorous training process. And again, like now you're communicating a lot with clients of ours that are now support staff. So yeah, it's interesting that you can actually go and speak to someone that most of our support staff now are actual real traders, just like anyone that's coming on there. So there's that shared experience that they can go through. But we've got one of the best ratings on Forex Peace Army. I look at our live chat, ratings all the time and matches it as well. So that's like the biggest thing for us to get right. And I think that's part of the DNA because if you think about it, a brokerage doesn't have many touch points for a client. There's like the client portal, there's a platform, but then what else really is there? So to me, it's that whole experience that clients can get from community and also from at any time being able to jump on the phone or jump on the live chat and have like a real person help them out and make them feel like they're, speaking to someone that actually understands what they're talking about.
Yeah, customer service with you guys is absolutely fantastic. I
Awesome.
value
Thanks.
customer service. It's absolutely amazing. Like as soon as you open up an account, you have one of your guys calling up the client saying, "Hey, I just want to welcome you to GP. I really appreciate your business. Here is my personal number. If you ever, need a quick trade cancel, if you need any questions, you need anything, just dial this number. We will answer right away." You go to the website, you look at the chat bot. It's not a bot, it's a real person. You say, if you are a client, boom, you get instant access. Even if you're not, boom, they're right there anyways. It's no more than a 1 minute wait. Like, I don't even think I've always been a client, so I've never had to wait, right? But then the community as well as the Discord. If you do have questions, it's like, hey, let me go ask the question. Like, hey, do you think this would be a cool thing to integrate into the Discord or into Global Prime? Or hey, I have a curious about what's the trade receipt or how are you guys taking trades? All that type of stuff. It's directly to you guys, and you guys have an absolutely fantastic customer service thing. You guys have really outdone yourself on that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Uh,
Appreciate that. That's
yeah,
awesome.
no buddy, eh? No worries. You can take me out for dinner later, eh? Waxing you
No
up
worries.
there.
Couple of beers.
One of the things that's really important, extremely important for retail traders
Mm,
is knowing where your money is located, because some of these traders you might only be it doesn't matter if it's $500, 10,000, 100,000, or tens of millions of dollars. You need to know where your money is, and it's extremely important. I want to know, where are the clients' money being held with Global Prime? Are you guys going off and trading it? Is it not even sitting? Is it sitting in a checking account, or is it not even there? Like, what are you guys doing with the
sure.
money?
So basically, all client funds are held in tier one banks and tier one countries. So even if we have a Seychelles license or a Vanuatu license, that money isn't actually going to Seychelles or Vanuatu. It's always staying, within Australia and I believe Singapore as well at the moment. So in terms of client funds, it really depends on where you're trading from. So ASIC came out with rules recently that says that you can't use client money to go up to the prime broker to get you margin. So if you're under ASIC, then that money can't be used for those purposes. Whereas offshore clients, we do take some of the client money and put up at the prime broker. Again, if you're talking about like BNP Paribas, like a tier one prime brokerage. So yeah, we always keep everything onshore in tier one jurisdictions with tier one banks.
So it's sitting in a bank account. You guys aren't going off and investing it or anything like that,
No,
right?
no,
It is very important for people to know, because you are trusting your broker. It doesn't matter with $500, like I said, or 10,000 or 100,000 or multi-millions. Like, you need to know where your money is, right? You wouldn't just go up to some
sure,
random stranger and say, "I want to invest in your business." Okay, give me $10,000. It's like, no, you should
yeah,
know where your money is, right? And how is it being
yeah.
allocated, and what's happening with it.
Sure. So just on that as well, on our website, we have another page on this exactly on client money. So it's all there as well.
Good, good, good. Okay, we got a couple more questions left, about two, three, really quick. I want to ask you, what is the top tip that you give retail traders as a broker? You see a lot of these interviews with trader interviewing each other, but I'm talking to you. What is your number one tip,
Mm.
top two tips that you'd give to a retail trader?
So one thing I always like to talk about is the idea of not chopping and changing strategy. People kind of come into the trading scene and they start to look at Forex forums and they go from one thing to the next thing and it'll work for a couple of days. They get a bad trade, they'll switch to a new strategy. A lot of the time, if you're focusing on a strategy, you really got to stick to that and get your run rate up and build that experience over time before going live with it, of course. So I always say if you're new to trading, 3 months to 6 months at least of profitable trades on a demo account before you go live. I know a lot of people just love to jump into it. Also, some people like to deposit a small amount just so they've got skin in the game as well and they can start to feel what it feels like. But don't go and put a big amount in thinking that you're going to become rich overnight if you're new to trading. You got to take it seriously. And another big thing is finding a trading mentor. We offer a couple of trading mentors that clients are able to learn how to trade from. Obviously, you're one as well. Find someone that's really transparent, that has like a public kind of room where you can see other people inside there as well talking about that trading mentor, and that can shave years off your trajectory, because if you can find someone to actually mentor you into becoming a profitable trader, then there's that side. And maybe another big one is psychology. People don't place enough focus on that, and it's so easy to run through the motions, and you only really see it after you've experienced it, as I'm sure as any trader knows, of what it's like to be stuck in a trade that you shouldn't be in, for example, and being able to cut that really quickly rather than holding on to it and just praying that it's gonna come your way. You need to have a plan before you trade. You need to journal your trades, especially if you're a manual trader, and be able to reference which trades went well, which trades didn't, using screenshots, how you were feeling at the time, any notes about what was going on in your head. And once you can build that out, if you got to take it seriously. It's like a business. So I don't know, maybe that's a few different points, but
No,
yeah,
dude, amazing. I 100% agree with you. It's actually what, like, most just traders and trader interviews say. One, get a mentor. Two, make sure you have the system and make sure you take at least 20 trades or back tests. And just make sure you're consistent with the system and don't system hop, right? Another one you said, journaling, back testing, right? And oh, psychology. That's what you said. You said those three, right? Extremely important. To be honest, I thought you were going to say maybe a little bit of something else, but you say basically
sure.
what everybody else says, and it's good to hear from a broker side
Yeah,
to
they're
say,
good
hey,
tips.
it's the exact same. They are excellent tips. 100%, I
Yeah.
agree with you on that and everything. So good job on that. One of the last questions I did have for you is, let's see, top tips. Okay. This is something I wish that everybody asked in these interviews is what is your number one investment or thing that you recommend for the next 2 to 5 years? If I was at a bar, we meet in an all-inclusive resort, we're hanging out at the pool bar, and I ask you, hey man, like what's the thing that you think is like not guaranteed, but what's the thing that you are very confident in that's going to be a very good investment over the next 2 to 5 years?
Okay, ready for this one?
Yeah.
Invest in yourself.
Oh God. Oh
I
God.
know,
No,
I
don't
know
hit
you're
me
looking for
with
the
that, man. No.
I know you're looking for the hot tips. First of all, we don't provide any kind of advice to our clients. People really, jump in
Hmm.
and trade the markets themselves. So I'm not going to go and say buy this or buy that
No,
or
no.
whatever it is. Investing in yourself, I know it kind of takes it away from getting
Oh
that hot
God,
tip,
you're
but
killing me.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but investing in yourself is the biggest ROI that you can get. Taking what you do and your craft seriously, go to some courses if you're a trader, go find some mentors, go broaden your horizon of understanding how liquidity works or whatever it is. Go see if you can join a brokerage and work in their team, for example, and start to understand more about the back end. There's so many things that you can be doing if you want to be a successful trader over the long term. That I see that people that are doing that get 10x on where they're at in their heads.
Okay.
Now we can talk like industry specific maybe,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think
We're just
crypto
shooting the
is,
stuff, man. Yeah.
yeah, I think crypto is an interesting space to watch just because of the tech advancements that's happening over there. In terms of which one to buy, I'm not going to say this one or that one or anything like that, but
Okay.
to me, it's the next evolution of money in a way and decentralized organizations. And there's so many different bits and pieces to what's happening in blockchain and the crypto space that I think is really, really interesting. Now, in terms of trades, it's very hard to say 5 year horizon or whatever it is because crypto really goes in big cycles. 2017 we had a big run up, big crash for a couple of years, and then we saw it again happen now and it's starting to look parabolic. So protect your stops kind of thing. But it's one of those things that, just like we did today with the internet when it first came out, where it was going to go. Like, who imagined you're going to have a phone with the entire world's, digitized music collection on it? That's something that exists now that we didn't know about back then. And I don't think people fully appreciate what's going to come next because you can't really see it until it kind of happens. So involving yourself in the blockchain space, understanding how it works, I think opens yourself up to a few opportunities in case this continues to be a thing. You'll be well prepared to, hopefully take some good plays in it.
Okay, there you go. You big crypto supporter. That's good to hear. I just wanted to hear. That's good. Thank you for that information. What is the goal for Global Prime over the next year to 2 years?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Your
Am
AirPods
I
died.
back on? Am I?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know they don't last a full Zoom meeting. I've noticed.
Ah, you paid $200.
I need to get something wide. Yeah, so next couple of years, we want to become more multi-asset. We've now got Trader Evolution, which is a proper multi-asset platform. TradingView as well. You can pump anything through there too. So the idea is to really fill that side of things up. But we want to basically take things to the next level on community side of things and the trading mentors as well. That's a big thing for us. So developing that platform further, finding more mentors that are interested in joining and helping out our clients or anyone really, because you don't need to be a client of Global Prime to find one of these mentors. I think is another big move that we want to go into. The idea of copy trading and finding someone to piggyback off isn't really our thing. We like to for clients to actually learn how to trade and take ownership over what they're doing. So that's definitely a big approach as well. But the community side is where I love doing things. I kind of had this vision before COVID of going around the world and meeting up with our clients and running little meetups with these guys and girls that we're getting to know over Discord. And I still want to do that, but obviously we've got to wait for the kind of COVID borders to open up again. And I guess just like you're a traveling trader, I'd love to be a traveling broker. And yeah, just together, like hanging out with our clients is where we learn the most. We've got the Discord; it's really cool. Um, but yeah, I think that's really the key area that we want to push on the retail side of things.
Mhm.
And yeah, the idea is always just to operate in spaces that other brokers can't or won't. And yeah, you don't really see many brokers having a Discord where you can chat to the founder 24 hours a day. Well, I guess I do sleep sometimes, but most days of the week I'm there. Anyone can ask me a question directly in front of everyone. And yeah, it's just to us, it's transparency features, constantly tweaking the model to get the lowest cost for our clients and seeing how else we can work together to give them what they're looking for.
absolutely fantastic. I agree. I think that would be. I look forward to seeing how Global Prime grows into the future, especially over the
But
next
let me
couple of
ask
years.
you, let me flip it back to you. I know,
Oh shit.
you're
Okay.
interviewing me here, but what kind of features do you think you're looking for in a broker over the next couple of years?
Whew. Whew. That is a tough one. That is a tough one. Having access to a level two order screen, I think, would be cool, ex- and not have to trade like commodities on the futures market. If you could see some type of order flow happening in the currency market or in the stock market, obviously you can in the stock market, more so the currency market, and integrate something like that, that would be really cool in my opinion. Um, as for the next big thing, that is a very big thing if that is possible. But off the top of my head, I don't know. I really think hard about these questions. And before we had
Yeah.
this interview, I sat down for like an hour and a half and started writing this stuff out. I was pre-planning for like a week writing down questions, you know? But I'm not sure if that's possible, having a level two order screen or something like that in Forex.
So after this call, jump into the client portal, even as a demo, and download Trader Evolution and open up a Trader Evolution demo account, and you'll be able to see it happening over there.
Ah, really?
But again, it's like it's more the depth of where the LPs are pricing in. You don't actually get to see where orders are sitting in terms of client orders or other people's orders around the world. It's very decentralized, the FX space. So we have
Hmm.
our LPs pricing in and our clients connecting with them. Whereas in equities, for example, you get to see everyone's kind of orders inside that book because it's one centralized system.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's, this is something I'm going to have to get back to you on because when people ask me for their review on their product or what do you think should be the next big thing, I can't just pop it out of my brain and say this is where you have to be.
Sure.
Global Prime does such an amazing job. Like I said, security is through the roof, communication is through the roof. It would be nice to offer more, have access to stocks as well. I think that is something that you are working on. That would be
Yeah.
amazing. Cutting commissions, getting that down, I think it is a problem, especially if you want to do short-term scalping. You do have to end up paying, 15, 20, 30% in commissions if you're going to be doing
Mm.
scalping on lower time
Not
frames.
anymore. With
Well,
us, not
then
anymore.
again, but then you're going to be having a higher
Yeah.
spread though, right?
Nope. It's actually, if you include the spread, well, yeah, the spread is marked up a very slight amount, but if you include the commission and the spread together, it's way cheaper than anything else that's out there
Is
from what
this
we've seen.
something that's already rolled out for everybody?
It's rolled out for clients that are signing up at the moment, and over time, we're looking to roll it out to previous clients. But if you're a previous client that's watching this, just jump in the live chat and ask, and we'll do it for you.
So if I have, say, let's imagine I'm trading USD Canadian and the spread is zero point 0.5 pips, right?
Yeah,
That's what it is for me personally. Let's just imagine right now, and I'm not on this this extra room for a spread. If if I do this extra room and a higher spread, right, it's going to go up to maybe one, but I'll cut my commission then down, or it'll go from zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.7. But instead of spending uh, $7 in commission, I'll get it down to $4.
sure. So basically, you'd be with Global Prime. I'm actually looking right now to see if I can find what our current spreads are, because then I can tell you exactly. Um, but yeah, say it was zero point 0.4 of the spread that you're seeing, then you're just paying zero commission. Um, if it's our standard feed, you'd be paying zero point 0.4 and $7 per lot. But if it's the new setup, it might be zero point 0.5 and zero,
Mm,
for example. So it's still a lot cheaper than the
yeah.
original offer and what else is out there.
Hmm. Why did you guys do that really quickly?
So the idea is that we try to work out a way to go zero commission, because that's kind of what a lot of people are looking for. But at the same time, to only mark up the spread by enough of an amount that we're still cheaper than everywhere else, especially on the majors. So, like I was saying, we've got this third party that's analyzing other brokers' commissions and spreads. And maybe I'll send you a couple of screenshots after so you can see just how much cheaper we are
Yeah, if you know
than
my
what
email,
else is
throw it
out
my
there.
way,
I will.
and I'll have a look at it. Besides that, I told you, have access to more markets. You guys have done an amazing job, and if I do have any recommendations, and if anybody else has any recommendations, always post it in the comments section or reach out to the broker,
Sure.
and I would personally do that. You guys do hold the number one broker on forexpeacearmy.com. You guys get back to everybody. That's pretty hard. That's an amazing achievement to have the number one rated broker on forexpeacearmy.com.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you would like to say to the people where they could reach out? I will have everything in the links below. If there is questions about Global Prime, it'd be nice if you came on and just said, hey, answered anything. If anybody does have any follow-up questions about anything in the broker world, I'm sure you guys will do that.
Cool. So I guess what I'd say, and I'm sure there's a lot of American listeners, is that even if you're not able to be a Global Prime client at the moment, jump into our Discord and just see what it's like to have a really pleasant, active community of traders interacting with the broker in real time. And you can ask us questions. We have an Ask Us Anything channel over there. You can tag me and ask me personally anything that you want about the space. So if anyone has any questions that we didn't cover over here, or something that you really want like a granular, detailed answer on, hit us up. That's what we're there for. We're looking to educate and just try and do whatever we can to show the industry that we can be doing better, and we can be on the client side with certain types of models that can still be profitable for both the broker and the client. So that's really our aim, and we'll keep doing what we're doing. But yeah, I'm having so much fun, and I'm having fun with these interviews as well. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
This is my first interview. I told myself I will never do interviews. I don't think I will. The only reason I did it is because I'm talking to the man himself. That's why. Besides that, we will wrap that up. I do appreciate you being here and everybody that's watching this. Like I said, if you want to reach out to them, links will be all in the description. If you like the video, hit that like button, comment, subscribe. You guys know what to do. I really appreciate it. Stay hydrated. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.